How far would you go to chase a dream when no one shows up, no one believes in you, and you've got nothing but a car and a notebook full of hope? Tyler Perry lived that. Before the studios, the stages, and the billion-dollar empire, he was homeless, sleeping in his car, rejected by the industry, and almost out of faith. But he kept writing, kept believing. In this video, we're breaking down the truth behind Tyler Perry's rise, how pain shaped his purpose, and how relentless faith turned one man into a cultural powerhouse. This story isn't just inspiring. It's proof that rock bottom can be the foundation for everything. A childhood marked by trauma. Tyler Perry's story begins in New Orleans, where his childhood was filled with abuse and instability. His father was physically abusive, and the household was full of fear. Perry has described his early life as a living hell, but even in that pain, he found escape through writing. As a child, he would journal to process his feelings, long before he ever called it a script. That early trauma didn't destroy him. It sharpened his empathy, deepened his emotional range, and laid the foundation for the stories he would one day tell the world. His creativity wasn't born in comfort, it was born in survival. Finding healing through writing. As a young man, Perry came across an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show where she talked about the therapeutic power of writing. That moment changed everything. He began turning his journal entries into scenes, characters, and stories. Writing became his way of healing, organizing his pain, and finding his voice. It wasn't about making money. It was about making sense of his life. He developed a stage play called I Know I've Been Changed, which drew from his own experiences of abuse and redemption. This wasn't just art. It was therapy with a ticket price. He found purpose in his pain, and he put it on paper. The dream that no one came to see. In 1992, Perry put every dime he had into staging I Know I've Been Changed in Atlanta. He rented a theater, printed flyers, and prepared for crowds that never came. Only 30 people showed up. He lost everything. But instead of giving up, he kept reworking the play, year after year, living on the edge of poverty, chasing a vision that no one else could see. He worked odd jobs, slept on floors, and put every spare dollar back into his scripts. Most people would have quit. But Perry wasn't chasing applause. He was chasing truth. And that made him unstoppable, even in silence. Homeless but not hopeless. There were times when Perry had absolutely nothing. He was broke, jobless, and homeless, living out of his car, parking in safe spots overnight, and washing up in public restrooms before rehearsals. But even in that lowest moment, he kept writing. He still believed the story in his heart would eventually reach the stage. He wasn't just homeless, he was holding on. Those nights in the car weren't failure. They were investment. Every moment of discomfort was part of the price he paid to keep his dream alive. He didn't wait for perfect conditions. He showed up anyway. That's what made the difference. 6 years of rejection before one break. From 1992 to 1998, Tyler Perry kept restaging his play, each time hoping it would catch on. But show after show flopped. Venues were nearly empty. He was told his writing wasn't marketable, that black audiences wouldn't buy into it. But he never changed his message. He stayed rooted in themes of healing, family, forgiveness, and faith. Finally, in 1998, something clicked. Word of mouth spread. Audiences started coming. The play sold out. That moment didn't just change his finances. It validated everything he had believed. 6 years of rejection became the setup for his breakthrough. Because he didn't fold, the breakthrough found him. The rise of Madea and a new kind of theater. With the success of his first play, Perry introduced the world to a bold, hilarious, no-nonsense character named Madea. Inspired by his mother and other strong black women in his life, Madea became an instant favorite. She wasn't polished, but she was powerful. Perry, dressed in drag, created a character that balanced comedy with deep emotional wisdom. The plays exploded in popularity. Fans lined up around the block. He wasn't just entertaining. He was speaking truth in a way that felt real and familiar. Madea was more than a character. She was a voice for a community that rarely saw itself on stage. Owning his audience and his work. Unlike most artists trying to make it, Perry never waited for Hollywood's approval. He self-financed, self-distributed, and kept ownership of his work. He understood his audience better than the gatekeepers did. So while critics dismissed his plays, his fans packed theaters and bought DVDs in bulk. That strategy wasn't just rebellious, it was brilliant. It allowed Perry to keep control of his vision and his profits. He wasn't just telling stories, he was building a business. And when Hollywood finally came calling, he didn't show up as a dreamer. He showed up as a proven brand, building a film empire on his terms. Perry transitioned into film with the same independent mindset. His first movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, was released in 2005 and became a surprise hit. He followed it with a string of box office successes, each one telling stories that mainstream studios ignored. He combined faith, humor, and hard truth, and audiences responded. But Perry wasn't just chasing hits, he was building infrastructure. He launched Tyler Perry Studios and eventually bought a massive 330-acre production facility in Atlanta, the largest of its kind, even used by Marvel and major networks. He didn't just break into the system, he built his own. A voice for the overlooked. Tyler Perry's work is often centered on working-class black families, faith, struggle, and redemption. Critics called it melodramatic. Audiences called it relatable. He gave voice to people who rarely saw themselves in media. He wasn't trying to impress film schools. He was trying to reach souls. That clarity made him a cultural force. People felt seen. His stories reminded them they weren't alone. Perry's genius wasn't just in entertainment. It was in representation.